My dear friends, we have a mimer that we did last week, but this week there's another piece that it's on the same pasuk, but a whole different explanation. It's page 16 to 18. So Roy is going to print now those copies, but I want to speak about it because till he prints it, what is the change here? So first, let's go back to the translation of the pasuk. Lariach, shmanecha tovim. The smell of your oil is good. Shemen, turak shemecha. Shema means I pour. Turak means I'm pouring out the oil. Al kain, therefore, alamot ahevucha. Alamot means girls that were never married. In the Torah, a girl that's never married is called alma aluma, which means that she's still a virgin, she's still a psula, so it's closed, it's not open. So that represents the Jewish neshamot, the Jewish people that have a closed heart. Their heart, as I call the word, I close it fashtapt. Fashtapt means your heart is closed, that no matter how much you think about Hashem, and no matter how much you think about, it doesn't wake you up. You're like fashtapt. Psula, beis, taf, vav, lamed, hey. Betula. I never said pasul. So the idea is that a Jew that doesn't have an open heart to Hashem, how do we get his heart opened? And that's what we spoke about. So here, he says an interesting chidush, a new thing. Before you come to this world, your soul, where was your soul before it came into your body? It was in Gan Eden. What's in Gan Eden? Gan Eden, you have Hashem revealed, a glory of Hashem revealed. The soul loves Hashem, is in awe of Hashem. It's like Gan Eden. It's like really no worries. It's like purely Hashem. Then Hashem decides, I want to take this neshama and I want to bring him down to this world, to this physical world. For the neshama, it's a big yirida. It's a big fall, because the neshama was in such a good place where there's no worries, it's all Hashem, and it's all good, and it's all positive, it's all light, there's no darkness, it's just good. And now the neshama comes down to this world, and boom. As the famous expression, ha-neshama yeredet l'toch haguf, the neshama comes down to the body, voimeres, and she says, vai, vai, vai. What am I doing here? Right? So that
it's coming from Gan Eden and not Gehenom.
There's no neshama that comes into the world from Gehenom. There's no such a thing. If not, you don't come here. If you want to get here, you have to first come from Gan Eden. Then you can get here. So let's just accept it as a fact.
But we lowered that one.
1 second. So now he says like this. The neshama, when it's in Gan Eden, is called alamot. That means when the neshama is in heaven, Gan Eden, it's fashtapt. Fashtapt means it's closed. When does the neshama get to the marriage level that I could say I'm married to Hashem? When it comes down to this world. That's what he says. Ki boyalayich oisayich. Boyalayich means when you get married with your husband, he makes you. It makes you into a woman. So when does a neshama get to the level of being married that he's now more absula, he's no more fashtapt, is when he comes to this world. So the Alter Rebbe says it doesn't make sense. In Gan Eden, where the neshama sits with God, and everything is sweet, and everything is light, over there you say the neshama is fashtapt, it's like a besula. It's like still closed. Where does the neshama get connected and married to Hashem? When it leaves its beautiful place and it comes down to this world. Here is the marriage, and here you get Hashem. Why?
It could be opposite.
It should be just the opposite.
Right.
On the contrary, he's going to say in the Maimah, interesting thing. There's how many levels in Gan Eden? There's Gan Eden HaTachton and Gan Eden HaElyon. The lower level of Gan Eden and the higher level of Gan Eden. In order for you to get to the lower level of Gan Eden, your neshama, after it leaves this world, has to go through Gehenom. What does Gehenom do? Gehenom makes the neshama forget this world, forget any connection to this world, any desire that it had to this physical world, so it could be refined in Gehenom, so it could enjoy the beautiful light of Gan Eden HaTachton, the lower level of Gan Eden. Now, how many years does a neshama go in Gehenom? Gehenom is where they clean you. It's like a special wash machine. So it says, there was a Jew...
Everyone going to Gehenom?
We thought there are 2 doors.
Huh?
It's not 2 doors.
No, it's a Gehenom. Listen to this, one second. Let's finish...
I want to finish.
So in any case, everybody going to Gehenom.
Everyone. No, so there was a Jew, the Gemara says, a Jew, his name was Elisha ben Avuya. This Elisha, the son of Avuya, was the teacher of Rabbi Meir. He was a scholar of scholars. And for something happened, he went off and he became apikoros, meaning he learned the whole Torah, he knew the whole Torah inside out. He taught Rabbi Meir, which Rabbi Meir was one of the greatest Tanaim. This is like 2,000 years ago. And he became such a sinner that he knew everything in the Torah because he learned the whole Torah, so he knew how to sin. Most Jews today don't know how to sin because they don't learn Torah. To really know how to sin, you have to learn the whole Torah. So you understand what's wrong. He understood everything is wrong and he did everything. To the point that Rabbi Meir, his student, Rabbi Meir was his student. On Shabbat, you're not supposed to ride a horse on Shabbat. Whatever the reason is, you don't ride an animal on Shabbat. This Elisha ben Avuya was such an apikoros that on Shabbat he used to ride his horse in the middle of the city, and Rabbi Meir used to walk with him on Shabbat. So he's on the horse, Rabbi Meir is walking with him, and he's teaching Rabbi Meir Torah. And when it came to walk out of the city, Rabbi Meir says, I'm sorry, I can't leave the city because it's Shabbat. And when he died, this Elisha ben Avuya had a big problem. His neshama was such a sinful neshama that he couldn't even get to Gehenom. Gehenom is already a privilege. It's like where I could cleanse you so you could get to Gan Eden. So Rabbi Meir, since Rabbi Meir was a student, so the Talmud says, Rabbi Meir prayed to Hashem. He said, Hashem, do me a favor. Elisha was my teacher. It's worth to suffer 70 years in Gehenom to get one moment of the joy of Gan Eden. Now, what is Gehenom? The Talmud says, Gehenom, a fire on this world, like Ish, fire on this world, is a 60th of Gehenom. So if you're burning on a fire, it's only a 60th of Gehenom. And he said it's worth to go 70 years in Gehenom for Acher, to go through the process of purifying his soul, so you could get to 1 minute of Gan Eden. Which Gan Eden? HaTachton. So Gan Eden HaTachton is not such a small potatoes. It's worth to burn in Gehenna for 70 years to get one moment of joy of Gan Eden HaTachton. Guess what? if you want to go from Gan Eden HaTachton, the lower Gan Eden, to the higher Gan Eden, the difference between the lower to higher is such a vast difference that even if you're living in Gan Eden HaTachton, that means you're already purified, they purified your soul, and you're mamish enjoying the light of God. But to get to the higher level of Gan Eden, which is Gan Eden Elyon, you have to go through called Nahar Dinur. What's Nahar Dinur? Nahar means a river. Dinur of fire. Aramaic, fire is Dinur. It's a spiritual, obviously this is all spiritual, this is not physical fire. Why? Because in order to enjoy Gan Eden Elyon, the higher Gan Eden, you have to forget of the lower Gan Eden. Because if you still remember the lower, it's an obstacle to understand the higher Gan Eden. I'll give you just a practical example in this world so you understand. You know, till the first train came out, 120 years ago, whatever the train came out, how did people travel from city to city? Through a horse. Horses took you. So in people's mind for thousands of years, they were used to this concept that the way you travel from one place to another is a horse. That's how you get. So when the first train was about to take off in Berlin, you know, I forgot the year in English, what year it was, everyone came to the city to see the first train that's going to go without a horse. You know, so how does something move without a horse? They couldn't understand. A thing could move without a horse. And it started to move. So all the people said, no, there must be a horse hidden on the side. So they all went under the train to see where's the horse, the hidden horse. Why? Because you're used to such a way of living that you can't understand how could something move if it doesn't have a horse. The same thing, if you have to enjoy Gan Eden, if you still remember the horse, you won't be able to enjoy the infinite pleasure that's godly pleasure. You understand what I'm trying to say? So in other words, when you want to go from here to Gan Eden, you have to go through a process that you forget, and they clean you well. Usually most souls don't have to go through more than 11 months. That's why we say Kaddish, 11 months. Why am I saying all this? 1814. Why am I saying all this about this Kaddish? About the Gan Eden? I just want to give you a little understanding where your soul was before it came here. I'm giving you a little glimpse. Because for you to get back to where your soul was before it came here, you need to go through a lot of cleansing to enjoy that special light of Hashem that's radiant and shining and blooming away. And then to go to the higher level Gan Eden, you have to go through even more. So now why did Hashem take you out of this Gan Eden and put you into this world? So he says, you know why he did it? Because in Gan Eden, you're only a psula, you're alma. You're only a soul that's still closed. You're still, we call it fashtapt. Where do you get God to marry you? In this world, in the lowest world, that's lower than low, that to get to Gan Eden, you need to go through who knows what. No, here's where you get connected to Hashem. How? How does that work? So let's look inside on page 16.
But it's a problem, because then when the neshama is going back to Gan Eden, so it's going to go...
No, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to it. No. When neshama comes back after being in this world, it's a different Gan Eden. Then you have a different Gan Eden. We'll get to that. Hine, you have it?
Yeah.
Lariach שמניך tovim shemen turk shemecha kenot. Hine neshama she'ena beguf elam hazeh. The souls that are not in a physical body, nikru alamot. They are called alamot. What does alamot mean? Psula, a soul that's not open, it's like closed. Al tiki alamot, ela olamot. What does olamot mean? Because hiniksiv. Yeah. So basically, your soul before it comes to this world was in Gan Eden, but in Gan Eden it's still considered psula, which means it's closed. It's not, doesn't have that deep connection to God. And now, look what it says. Ki boyalayich oisayich. Yeshayahu says that Who made the Jewish people? Where did the Jewish people get married? Lariach means Baal, the husband, the Hashem. When you come to this world, you get married to Hashem. So that means when you're in the Gan Eden, you're not married. You're still a Basulah. You're like single. You're a maiden. You're nothing. When do you get married to Hashem in this world? So he asks a question. The fact that your soul comes down to this world is a big yirida. Now I want to say one thing. There is different times we lived in history. We lived in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, first Beis HaMikdash, the second Beit HaMikdash, Galut with 2,000 years in exile. So he says, of course, coming down to this world when there's no Beit HaMikdash, I want to tell you a secret. Even during the time of the Beis HaMikdash, when in times of Shlomo HaMelech, when God was revealed in this world, it's still a big Yeridah, it's still going down from Gan Eden to come to this world, even in a good world. In the times of Shlomo HaMelech, when everything was good, it's still a big descent, it's a big going down. Because in the neshama before it comes here, it's beautiful. Hu golos v'yirida g'dola neshamas l'slabish u'l'hizgashem b'guf ha'mazeh. And one more thing I want to mention. Even if a Jew never sins in his life, he's a good Jew, he never sins. Just the fact that his soul came in a physical body, in a physical world, where the body has its desires to eat, temptations, whatever it is, that is the biggest descent for the neshama, that it says, vai, vai, vai. And even more than that, the neshama koydem b'olam hazeh. What did the neshama do before it came to this world? It was enjoying the radiance of Hashem. V'isa, it says in Talmud, which I just told you the story of Rab Meir and his teacher, mutav de ladaina. It's better to give Rab Meir's teacher 70 years of Gehenom, v'leisel amad asa, and to bring him to Gan Eden. Why? Shekedai gol yisuri Gehenim. It's worth to suffer in Gehenim 70 years. Lavay achakach, to go latainuk, to enjoy Gan Eden atachtain, even the lower level Gan Eden. So it was worth for him to suffer 70 years to at least go to the lower level Gan Eden. V'yesh Gan Eden tachtain, there's a lower Gan Eden, v'Gan Eden elyon. So where did your neshama start off? Either Gan Eden tachton, either Gan Eden elyon. And now when the soul has to go from the lower Gan Eden to the higher Gan Eden, what does he have to go through? Yesh old Gehenom. There's another Gehenom called Nahar Dinur, the river of fire, the Nagid v'Nafik, like the Daniel says. If your neshama was in Gan Eden, Mat Tzorech v'Lama Yardan neshama leidam haza yirida gedela yazu. Why did your soul have to come down so low? If to get back up there, it's such a vast difference. Stay there, and else is good. Who needs this coming down here? What do you gain? So he says, I want to tell you something. Achirida zu tzorech aliyah. I want you to know something. By you coming to this world, you're going to get to a level higher than Gan Eden. So I already told you how high Gan Eden is. It's worth to suffer 70 years Gehenim to get to the lower Gan Eden. Then from the lower Gan Eden to the higher Gan Eden, you go through another whole thing. But coming to this world, you get higher than the higher Gan Eden. How? It says, Yofa, Isa, Yofa, Sho, Achas, V'tshuva, Maisim, Tovim, B'olam Hazeh. This is Pirkei Avot, which you all learn. It's worth it 1 hour, 1 moment in this world to do what? 2 things. Tshuva. It's important I'm mentioning these 2. You soon see why. Tshuva and good deeds. B'olam hazeh. Mikol chaye olam haba. Now here's another trick here. Till now we spoke about 2 levels of a Gan Eden. The lower level and the higher. But there's something called olam haba. that's even higher than Gan Eden. What's Olam Haba? Olam Haba is when Mashiach comes, there'll be called Tchiyat HaMesim. Tchiyat HaMesim is all the Jews will be revived again, and Hashem will be revealed. You'll have Hashem revealed in this world. There'll be mamash. The revelation of God will be like so special. So he says, look at this. Yafeh shah achas. It's better for you to be here in this world, in this galut, with tshuva ma'asim tovim, mikol chaye ha'olam haba means chol chaye ha'olam haba means Gan Eden HaTachton, Gan Eden and Mashiach. It's better an hour now than Mashiach. So that means I've been waiting for Mashiach for 2,000 years, and you're telling me no, 1 hour or 1 moment learning Torah and doing tshuva now is more than the whole Mashiach to come. Now what's going to be when Mashiach? Look at this. Hurak ziv hashchina. When Mashiach comes, you're only going to get a ziv. Ziv is like a shine. Imagine you have the sun. Sun is, as the Rambam says, is 167 times bigger than the universe in its flat surface. So you can imagine what power the sun is. But if you have a little ziv, a little shine from the sun, compared to the sun, the little shine is nothing. So imagine Hashem says, a ziv, only a little shine of me, b'yud, nivra olam haba. What does yud mean? When Hashem created olam haba, which is Gan Eden HaElyon, Gan Eden HaTachton, and the world to come, which letter did he use? Yud. Yud is a very small letter, the smallest letter in the alphabet. Why? Because he's telling you Yud is tzimtzum gadol umachshava achas. He wants to tell you that this whole Mashiach and the worlds after Mashiach and Gan Eden, it was all made with such a minute light of God that it's like a little Yud compared to the essence of God. And he calls it machshava achas, with one thought. He created the whole Olam Haba and the worlds to come, which is hundreds of infinite levels, with one thought. Now look at us. How many words do we speak in our lifetime? Words. Let's say a few 100 billion, or a few billion, a few trillion words. So we have the power to speak a lot of words. So one word, compared to all the words that come out of our mouth, is insignificant in quantity. Now let's go to thought. Thought is higher than speech. Why? Because one thought has many words to it. Because if I want to share one thought with you, how many words do I have to use to share one thought? I have one idea. I want to share with you a new idea. I came up with a new brilliant idea. I'm going to make your company another 100 billion. But that brilliant idea could take me 10 hours to explain. So one thought is far more superior than words. Now, how many thoughts do I have in my life? How many times, I think? So one machshava compared to all my thoughts is insignificant. Now compare my thought to my neshama, which creates the thought. Because thought is a creation. You come up with a thought. But where does the thought come from? Who puts the thoughts in your mind? Who throws those thoughts in? Your neshama. So that means one thought compared to your neshama is insignificant. So Hashem says, I wanted you to know, Gan Eden, the lower level Gan Eden, the higher level Gan Eden, and Olam Haba, which means the whole future to come, was just one thought by me.
Wow.
That's the whole significance. It's one thought, machshava achat, which that's the yud, the small yud that he used to create all those spiritual worlds. It's one thought. How do we know that it was just one thought that God used to create all this future generations with the Olam Haba? It says in Pirkei Avos these words: "B'mayma echad yachol lehibaros." Hashem could have created the whole world with one expression.
One breath.
Expression, mama. Mama is one expression. Bereshis nami maimahu. When Hashem said Bereshit, That is an expression. So one expression creates everything. Now, let me just tell you what this could create. This one little thought of God, which is a yud, tzimtzum, ha'ara achat. Ha'ara means like a little shine. What does it create? Kol yimei chaye olam haba. What is yimei chaye olam haba? I want to tell you now. Look what you're going to have. Loshen rabim sheyesh kama Gan Eden tachton, the lower level Gan Eden elyon, the higher level Gan Eden, Yemois HaMashiach, the times of Mashiach, and then after that, 50,000 yovlos. You know that we're going to have 50,000 yovels? You imagine what that means? Ki kol shita alfa shnin hein rak shmita achas. You know that we're now the year 5,784. We're going into 5,005, right?
Right.
So we're going through it's called Shemitah Achas. It's a 6,000 year, and then the 7,000 year is Shabbat. It's like Shabbos. That's one. To get to one Yovel, you need 7 times 7. So you need to have 49,000 years, and then the 50,000 year, that's the first Yovel. Now how many Yovels are there? 50,000 Yovels. Did you figure it out again? We're holding 6,000 years. 7,000 years is called sabbatical. But sabbatical, Shemitah. But that's the first Shemitah. There's 7 such.
Until 50.
Till 50. And then there's 50,000 of it. And that's all in one thought of Hashem, Machshav Achas.
Sounds like I that.
Machshav Achas, one thought created all this.
Oh, that's a weird thing.
What? No, it's not the
30 trillion.
So therefore, look what he's saying here. Is what he's trying to bring out is such a vast thing. You're gonna plot on this. All of this, 50,000 yovels. I mean, just you can't even imagine. Is all from one yud, from one thought of God. It's not the essence of God.
2.5.
It's just a little ziv that creates all this. Ki kol shita alfa shnin. This 6,000 years is rak shmita achas. We're only one 7,000 group. V'yesh Gan Eden tachten, Gan Eden elyon, v'im kain. Kol chaye olam haba. The whole world to come. Hu rak ziv ha'ara achas mer seif. So Hashem says, all of this was just one little thought of mine. So one thought of God created 7,000 years, another 7,000, another 7,000, another 7,000, until you got 50,000, and 50 times 50,000, and Gan Eden elyon, and Gan Eden tachlin, and Mashiach is all one thought.
Is that the comma?
So, and this is all made from one ziv, from one shine of God, one machshava. So that means that's only machshava. But it has nothing to do with God Himself. It's just one thought of God made these. It makes this all this. So chevra, that means look at this. All of this is only a ziv, is only a shine. So he says, now I'll explain to you why it's worth coming to this world, because everything you're going to get when Mashiach comes, and the 50,000 yovels, is all a little shine of God. It's one thought. But when you're in this world, you have Hashem Himself, the essence. You have the sun itself, not the shine. So what do you want better? Mashiach, or you want Hashem Himself? V'zehu yirida. Look at Ois Beis, Tzorech Aliyah. I want to tell you, I brought you down to this world not to make you suffer. I want you to get connected to Hashem Himself. You can't get it in Gan Eden. You can't get it in Gan Eden elyon. You can't get it in Mashiach. You can't get it in Olam Haba. You can't get it in 50,000 Shemitahs. You're never going to get that. Only here, when you come al yidei tshuva, through coming to this world, one moment in this world, when you do tshuva in this world, you get the essence of Hashem. It means, now how do you get to do tshuva in this world? Why only in this world you can do tshuva? Because he says, I'll tell you, it's very simple. Da ma'ayin basa. Sit down for a few minutes and think, where am I coming from? Where does my neshama come from? Where did I start from? Where was I originated from? My neshama. Where did my neshama come from? Me'ayin. What's me'ayin? Hureishis hagilui. That's the highest level. That's where my neshama came. Me'ayin means from the beginning. From nowhere. From the highest level. Ula'on ha'to'elech. And where am I going to? Lislabish ba'olam hazeh. Af shaloi chata. Af al bikain. Nizgashim, you become physical. V'nifrod mimahusi v'atzmusi v'tachalik. When I come to this world, I'm totally disconnected from where I started from. So what happens? I have to think for myself. Turn to page 17. So he says, I'll tell you how you get to tshuva. Very simple. Realize where you came from. Your neshama came from Hashem and came down all the way to this low world, and it's so disconnected and so migusham, so materialistic, and so that you pashat feel rachmanut, mercy on your neshama. Well, how did it get to such a low pit? Such a low level. That itself, when you have that rachmanut on your neshama, that itself awakens in Hashem the berachamim gedolim al kaptzech. When He sees that you feel bad for yourself, that you're so low, He pulls you up al yedei tshuva me'ub kadaliba. Ki bereka katan azavtich shazir eket katan kol shita avnei shin. And therefore, v'ila zois yirida olam hazeh, yirida gedola al yedei zeh ma'oira tshuva me'ub kadaliba racham ramos barach. Guess what? Only in this world do you feel how deep low you are. If you would have stayed in Gan Eden, you wouldn't realize how low you are. Why? In Gan Eden, you're enjoying the radiation of God. There's no physical world. There's no limitations. There's no temptation. Nothing. So you feel good. So you never feel mercy on yourself how low I went down. But when Hashem puts you into this world where you're totally disconnected from everything, then you start to realize, wow, look how low my neshama fell. It started from Hashem, and I come all the way so low, I feel pitied. V'rachamecha rabim, rachem aleinu. Please have mercy on us with your mercy. Get us out of this thing. So Hashem says, no problem. That's what we do in the month of Elul. What do we do in the month of Elul? Yiridasei lo'il mazeh al yedei zeh mo'oire tshuva mu'umkadei libwa rachamim rabim ahusi v'atzmosei lahamshich yud gimel midas rachamim. You say to Hashem, bring the 13 attributes of mercy. Shelo yochel lismasha b'kli echad ragim l'neis. Hashem kel rachum. How come we say, and it was twice when we do the 13 attributes of mercy, we say Hashem. Why do we say twice Hashem?
Same thing.
Like, why do we have to say Hashem and then Hashem?
Same afterwards as He was before.
But you don't have to say twice. You can say the same Hashem before and after. What is it before and after? So he said, I'll tell you what it is. The first Hashem is to get to draw down from the essence of Hashem to come down to Chachma and the 13 attributes of mercy. In other words, the 13 attributes of mercy is also a creation of Hashem. What's the 13 attributes? Rachmanut. Chanun is like favoritism. Rechapayim, he's slow to anger. Rav Chesed, a lot of kindness. Notze Chesed. This is all midot. It's shlosh esei midot. It's already how Hashem put Himself and channeled Himself in 13 channels of midot harachamim. But Hashem's essence is above it, right? So I first have to get Hashem to come into the 13 channels of rachamim, and then I tell Hashem, take these 13 channels of rachamim and bring it down to this world. So the first Hashem is to get Hashem to come down to Hashem. And the second Hashem is that Hashem should come down to the 13 midot. So it's like we spoke about it a few times, that like you need two levels. You need to first get Hashem to come from his essence and say, okay, I'm ready to come down. And then once he comes down, I want him to come to the 13 attributes of mercy, which is kel, lerech, apayim. So Hashem is not the 13 attributes of mercy.
No.
The 13 attributes of mercy is kel, rachum, chanun, erech, apayim. Hashem is just, how do I get to the 13 attributes of mercy? So first Hashem has to come down from his essence and become, like, have the will to want. And then when you get Hashem to have the will, then he wants, and he creates the 13 attributes of mercy, and that is what he has rachmanut on us and takes us out of the pit. So in other words,
That's
the ratzon.
no, you said the tzimtzum.
The tzimtzum is that Hashem puts himself in the ratzon.
Okay.
Because when Hashem's essence, there's no will.
Now,
above.
you said that the neshama need to feel mercy for itself.
That's so
You
low.
also said earlier that the neshama, when it's coming to this world, it's getting disconnected from the place that it was earlier.
In Gan Eden.
So, if there is a disconnection here, how you can feel mercy for you? You don't know that you were here and now you are here. You know that you are here, but you don't have the comparison. You don't have the comparison between the starting point to now.
So you're saying how, in order to feel mercy,
I need to.
you have to know where you started
Yes.
and to feel how low you went.
Yes.
And how do I know how I was if I don't know that? I'm only
I'm
here.
disconnected.
Right. So the answer to this question is that is the hard part. Because we don't feel how we were originally, we just know it because we're learning it in Torah. We almost have to imagine and create this imaginary rachmanut to make us feel how pity it is on us.
It only maybe can be retroactively when you're starting to do tshuva
Yeah.
and you're going up and up.
Then you
and up
feel,
and
yeah.
up, and then you feel sorry for where you have been.
Yeah.
That's-
I'll give you one example, just practical. When you meet a Jew on the street, 3 weeks before Rosh Hashanah, and you say to a Jew, are you ready for Rosh Hashanah? So there's two answers. There's one answer, a Jew says, I'm always ready. When a Jew says he's always ready for Rosh Hashanah, it means he doesn't understand what Rosh Hashanah is. What do you mean you're ready? Rosh Hashanah, Hashem has to recreate the whole world. He has to recreate his whole thought of wanting to create the world. Maybe he doesn't want it anymore. Who wants a world like today? So by us, what do we do Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah is not just asking Hashem, give us a good year. No, we have to create the ratzon that Hashem should want to create another world this year. How do we do that? By when we blow the shofar and the tshuva that we do, the whole idea of shofar is I'm blowing, I'm not saying any words. There's nothing I have to say. I just have to tell Hashem, listen Hashem, I'm ready to be yours. I'm crowning you as the king of the world. And I don't even have words to say, I'm just blowing my neshama to you. I'm blowing my essence to you. Can you want the world again this year? Please. Zachreinu l'chaim melech chafetz v'chaim. What do we say the whole tefillot? Hashem, we say Hashem, please be the melech of the world. We want you to want. Hashem, Hashem means come and create that will again. That's what Rosh Hashanah is all about. But guess what? Once you are able to create Hashem should want, and that Hashem, you understand that Hashem wants, then you could say to Hashem on Yom Kippur, you know what Hashem? You want this world, but I realize there's a lot I need to fix to get to be totally yours. Hashamnu, Bagadnu. You know what I'm saying? If a person doesn't learn and understand what Rosh Hashanah is, he doesn't even realize what am I doing Rosh Hashanah. Or I'll give you another example. If you learn in Rambam the laws of Shabbat, there's 30 chapters in Rambam on Shabbat. I'm just giving you an example. And you learn through all the 30 chapters and you understand it. Very simple, all the laws of Shabbat. You say, wow, I never realized that's what Shabbos is about. I thought Shabbos means, you light candles, you make Kiddush, and, and say good Shabbos, and you go to sleep, whatever. But after I learned 30 chapters of Rambam, I'm far from Shabbos. I'm so far from Shabbos. Then you're starting to realize how far you are. There's a famous expression in Torah, Tachlis hayidiyah shelo nedeacha, which means the more you learn, the more you realize how far you are from it. It's simple. When you climb a mountain and you're on the bottom, you think, oh, it's a few minutes to get up. As you're climbing up, you say, whoa, I don't know how you get up there. And you climb higher, whoa. The more you're learning of who your neshama is, what is Hashem, Hashem's essence, where my neshama comes from, what Gan Eden is, you start to realize, hey, I'm far from there. So you have rachmanut on yourself. What am I doing here? It's like a pity on me. My neshama should want to plot out of here. And Hashem says, you know why I put you here? I wanted you to feel that. In Gan Eden, you wouldn't have felt that. In Gan Eden, it's all good. I don't feel that I'm low. Even though I only get a ziv, only like a little shine, but it's a shine that gives 50,000 yovels. It's a shine that gives so much energy for, how many years is 50,000 yovels?
18.2 billion.
18.2 billion years of one little energy of God. It's not so bad. So when I'm in Gan Eden, I don't feel the lowliness. I'm great. But when I put you into this garbage world, and I start to realize how much garbage there is here, then all of a sudden I say to Hashem, have Rahmanas. I want you. What do we say on Rosh Hashanah? Avinu Malkeinu. What happened? Why do we say Avinu Malkeinu? On Rosh Hashanah, we don't mention the word sin. Nowhere in the tefillah. We don't say Chatanu on Rosh Hashanah. Why? On Rosh Hashanah is the time to realize, hey, what am I doing here? It's, what am I down in this lowly world? And I say, you know what? Avinu Malkeinu. You know why I'm here? I just want to connect to God. We say in L'David Hashem Oiri, Avi v'imi azavuni v'Hashem yaseinu. It always bothered me. David HaMelech saying, my father left me, my mother left me, but God gathered me. That's what kind of father and mother he had? Like they kicked him out of the house? Is that what we're trying to say here? No. What's the point here? So you know what he says in the Alter Rebbe here? He says, no. Avi v'imi represents two levels in Torah. Avi is the written Torah, and Imi is the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Why? The Torah Sheba'al Peh explains everything that's written in the Torah Shebachsav, because the Torah Shebachsav doesn't have all the details. So just like a father and mother, we said the father is the semen, and the mother develops the child and brings it all out. So the Torah Sheba'al Peh is the mother, and the Torah Shebachsav is the father, right? Avi v'imi means like this. If you look in Torah, what does Torah say about this Jew here? This Jew deserves a lot of smacks. He did this thing wrong, that thing wrong. When you look in Torah Sheba'al Peh, I deserve even more. So if you look in Torah, Avi v'imi, they say goodbye to this Jew. But v'Hashem, the essence of Hashem, yashekeini, Hashem says, no. My essence and your essence, we're one. So even if the Torah looks at you like you're a wicked Jew because you did 100 sins, and the Torah Sheba'al Peh but I'm going to gather you because we're one. That's what by the way, that's why the whole Shir Hashirim calls us husband and wife. Because a father and a mother relationship is a natural. It's something that, the nature is you have a child, it's part of you. But, it's not so passionate, so exciting. It's just, that's the nature of a parent. They love the child. When you're thinking about a husband and a wife, over there the love is so passionate, so strong, that it's like ishi. It's like, what? It's my fire. It's like, it becomes like so one that you don't know of anything else. It's like a lot of times when you meet a young couple before they get married, and I ask the boy and the girl, why you want to marry each other? They says, we're in love. Like, I said, you really in love? I mean, did he ever smack you once? Or she ever smacked you once? He says, no. But I said, but what happens if they smack you? Are you still going to love them? I don't know. I said, the true love is going to come out when you have challenges and you smack each other and you still love each other. Then you know there's a good marriage here. You know what I'm saying? And then they look at me like, oh, I thought, but when they're in love, they can't even think about anything else. They don't even know there's another world. They're so into this that there's nothing else exists. That's our connection to Hashem. When we come to this world, and when it's such a low place, we start to realize, hey, how low did we get? And we want to connect this to Hashem Himself. That is what we accomplish by coming to this world. So that's called tshuva. You understand? Tshuva means not that you did anything wrong. I just want to reconnect to my essence. So you could be a tzaddik your whole lifetime, but you're still in such a low place that you just want to connect to the essence. Then there's the next two words, which is called maasim, which is what? The 248 mitzvot and all this thing that you could only do where? In this world. So yafa shah achas v'tshuva ma'asim tovim ba'olam hazeh mikol chayei olam haba. One moment of tshuva, of realizing that you want to connect to the essence of Hashem, and ma'asim tovim in this world is worth more than all this 50,000, 20 billion years that will come. It's all from one ziv of Hashem, because here you have the essence of Hashem. So,
I don't get this concept.
You don't?
No.
Tell me why.
What's the point?
Oh, what's the point to come here?
In general, what's this whole craziness?
לריח.
You know what? You know how many times you learn in Chassidut the same exact question? Maybe I would say 10,000 times. Lama yarda haneshama la'olam hazeh. Why did God put our soul in this world? Who needs this craziness? Coming, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, so the point here is like this. You're right. You're right in the sense of, was it worth it? But what you're getting from here, you're never going to get in Gan Eden. You're never going to get the essence. Not in Mashiach, not in Olam Haba, not in 50,000 Yovels. You're never going to get what you're getting now here.
I don't get no essence here.
You are. Maybe not the tshuva essence, but the ma'asim tovim essence. Every mitzvah you do, you connect. You're not maybe the tshuva, you don't feel yet how pity it is on your neshama. Okay, that takes time to understand where your neshama came from and to feel pity. You're right. But at least the ma'asim tovim, every mitzvah you do, you connect to the essence of Hashem. That you get here only. You don't feel connected? Well, guess what? You're connected anyway.
Do the right thing.
What's the right thing? No, what Hashem says.
Huh?
Well, only the right thing is what Hashem says in the Torah. There's nothing else right. Because what we think is right doesn't mean it's right.